All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited once again. My name is Lawrence Washington Jr., also known as Mr. Optimistic, and I am here to generate a conversation about purpose. This is 30 days of understanding the power of purpose. This is day number 17, and I am so excited. Why? Because you decided to be a part of a conversation that will push you forward and not pull you back. A conversation that will pull you up and not pull you down. So thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I want to introduce to you all someone who is very special to me. He is a young man who inspires me. I'm thankful to God that I have had the privilege to meet this brother. We met at church. I moved here to
Yes.
Arizona 3 years ago, and and he and he approached me, and he was super humble but powerful at the same time. Anybody who knows anything about humility knows that humility is totally connected to power. And I felt the power coming from his heart out of his mouth. So I'm just so thankful that I have a privilege and honor to engage in a conversation talking about purpose. But specifically, we're going to talk about how our dream will connect us to our purpose. Yeah, that's right. And based off of my teachings from before, when I say dream, I'm not talking about that dream that you have when you go to sleep. I'm talking about that
Yeah.
vision, the dream, the
Yeah.
vision that shows up that you can actually see before you can see it physically. It's a picture of the future. And we are about to have a conversation with none other than my brother, Sharif. What's up
What's
with you,
going on?
man?
Man, that was an awesome introduction. Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm so glad to be here, man. This conversation, I know that it's going to bless somebody, man. I know that it's going to push somebody forward, man. So first and
Yeah.
foremost, just, just tell the people who you are, man.
Yeah. So my name is Sharif AKANNI, a 25-year-old young man that loves Jesus, has a heart for God. And by his grace, he's called me to know him. And I'm just passionate about, people knowing what God has called them to do. Because I know that realizing what God has called you to do, there is joy, there is peace, and there is fulfillment in that. Um, I'm all about family, families coming together. I feel like God speaks through families. God speaks through family units, and I believe that when a family stays together, they can bring peace to the world. So, man, I love family. I'm all about family, and that's why I created a card game to be able to bring families together, bring people together, to have intentional time. Man, I'm a passionate guy. I live off of passion. If I'm not passionate about something, then I can't do it. But I'm a 25-year-old man that loves God and wants to continue to grow in my faith and grow in community, and just make my way back home. And my way back home is back to the Father. So this is who I am.
Wow, wow, wow. That is beautiful, man. The most beautiful part is the man say he's 25. He's 25 and he's already manifesting his dreams right before our eyes. He created Limbo, which is a family game
Yeah.
that every family can benefit from his dream. So I just want you to just dive straight into it. Take us through the process of how did you get to this point to where now you have your dream on display.
Yeah. Yeah.
So first, tell us about the game,
Yes.
and then tell us about how it the process that led you to this point.
Yes.
The floor is
Yeah.
yours,
So,
bro.
thank you. So man, so this game is a game that was inspired by my um curiosity to ask questions. Um this game, the reason why I created this game was because we live in a world where we could be pulled in different directions, right? We have goals, we have dreams, we have things that we want to do. Work can be demanding. And the reason why I decided to make a physical card game is because I know that that is going to bring people together to have intentional time. I could have, sought out to, you know, create an app or something like that, create an app with the game. But I know that our phones are an individual personal experience, and we're constantly on our phones. And I have nothing against that. And maybe one day, I'll create an app. But for right now, I said I wanted people to have intentional time. I need people to bring people together because as human beings, right, our desire is to be social and to connect with people. And I feel like with the world that we live in, with all the responsibilities and the things that um, we may be focused on that take our attention away from what really matters is Jesus and family. I need to create something physical to bring people together. And for me, I've won if I have a family's, if this game makes it into someone's household and I can get 30 minutes of their time playing and there's laughter and there's conversation, I've won. And that small win means the world to me. Um, so yeah, so it's a question. It's a game with 120 questions, random questions, and I made sure that every question in this game was family friendly and not perverse because I'm trying to bring the younger generation and the older generation together. So whether you are 10, you can play with your uncle or aunt or mom that's 40, 30 years old. You can play with your grandmother. And basically these are a series of questions. The 120 questions are questions just asking, how low you're willing to go for a specific financial reward. So they're funny questions. An example of a question will be, would you wear shoes 3 sizes too big for a year for $50,000? So funny questions like that. you know and if anybody understands the value of money, if you're 8 years old and you understand the value of money and what you can do with that, this game is for you. Obviously, I know that adults understand the value of money because they got to pay bills and they may be in some sort of debt. So, just a bunch of hypotheticals, making people laugh and bringing people together. And I realized that at the journey, the beginning of this game, I had no job. I recently graduated college, and I would think up these things. And even before graduating college, I would ask people, these random questions, and I know that it was engaging in conversation. It allowed people, whether you were from the same socioeconomic background or same background with, different races, whenever I asked anyone this question, they were always excited to answer. Um, so that kind of sparked something in my head that, man, maybe I could create a game, with this. I mean, we all ask these questions all the time. Like we've all had conversations like, man, would you do this for that? Would you do that for this? Would you do that for that? Amount. And I said, maybe I could, being an entrepreneur and always figuring out, man, how could I, make something out of an idea? I said, maybe I could make a game out of this. And that was the journey, 2017 of, the start of Limbo. And it's been a long.
Let me ask you this right quick. So let me ask you this quick question, and not to cut you off, but you talked about how the idea or the dream or the vision, it came to you during a challenging time in your life, correct?
Yes. The creation of the game. Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about that challenging time and how your dream was able to pull you through that time. A lot of times we have to understand the value of our dream. How even he just explained to us, right? How he had just graduated from college and he was looking for work and he couldn't find work, right?
Yeah.
And that's a challenging moment, especially when you graduate with such a high expectation. The expectation that is given to us by our society. And then when that expectation is not being met, we are hit with a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings that could bring us down.
Yeah.
But he was able to look somewhere within.
Yes.
To generate an idea, a dream.
Yeah.
That caused him to shift his focus even while he was going through. His dream caused him to focus on a goal even in the midst of troubling times. So let's just talk about just where you were during those challenging times. Let's just talk about your mindset, you know, what you were dealing with, and then boom, that dream was like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question. Actually, thank you for asking that question. Man, I'm so thankful that we serve a God, that I serve a God, and you and I serve a God that gives everybody purpose, right? Everybody has a dream. Everybody, God is given. So we're not just here just to just walk around and just experience life. But on top of just being able to experience life, God says, I want to give you purpose and give you something that fulfills you. So, man, I praise God that God cares so much to give us humans something that will fulfill us. Now, let me tell you the journey of the story. And I also want to encourage somebody out there. Man, I want to let you know this, that if you're at a point in your life where you have nothing, don't be afraid of having nothing. Don't be intimidated with ground zero, because it was out of nothing that I created this game. It was at a point in my life where, you know, I had these expectations. As you said, you know, you graduate college, you finally got your degree, and everybody's moving on and moving out of their parents' houses. And, you know, they've gotten these corporate jobs and they're getting paid $50,000 a year and $60,000 a year and all these things. And I had those, you know, those aspirations and those goals. And I went to job fairs before graduating college, and nothing happened. You graduate, you have these interviews, you know, before you graduate, you know, you make the second round and they say, unfortunately, we can't hire, we've decided to move on with somebody else. You have another interview, all these things, and graduating and coming home with no job. I believe that was one of the lowest points in my life. And I praise God for my mother having her support and my brother having his support during that time, because they didn't add any pressure to me. But for me, you know, I have these personal goals. Like I graduated college. I want to move out. I want to get this corporate job and I want to make some money for my own instead of going back home. And it was out of nothing that I created nothing and something. So I want to encourage somebody out there. And I'm saying it again. You may be at ground zero. You may look at your life and say, man, people are moving ahead and people have stuff that people are doing things that you hope to do. But I want to encourage somebody that it was out of nothing, ground zero, that this idea, that the thought of this game was sparked, you know, and it was the only thing that gave me excitement, you know, besides Jesus. It was this game that gave me excitement. I would think, man, if I had 50, I would think to myself in my room, if I had $50,000, what would I do? You know? And then I started thinking, you know, the questions started coming up, man, would I do something for $50,000? And if I had the $50,000, where would I live? What would I do? How would I change my life? And it was during that free time of not having a job, looking for a job, looking for work, that I started working on this game, working on it, formulating the questions. First, you know, it was 5 questions. And I was okay, by Thanksgiving, I want to have 50 questions. I didn't have 50 questions because it was a lot, you know. Then I tried, then I got to 50. Let me do 100 questions of would I do something for a certain amount. So I had the free time to think up all the questions, think up the structure of the game, you know, play with my family. I started off, first of all, I cut off, you know, paper, and I would do a yes and no and write on the little paper, you know, with questions, and just trying to get an idea of how I would structure the game. And I played my family and they loved it. But it was out of nothing that I created this, out of a time where, you know, my expectations were not met. And unfortunately, I was heartbroken by that this game actually kept me during that time. You know, fellowship with Jesus and fellowship with people in the church, but also this dream that God had put in my heart, this vision that God had put in my heart, also kept me during that time and gave me joy and gave me, you know, some sort of excitement, you know, during that season of my life where I had nothing. So that was just the journey, the beginning of it, graduating 2018. The idea started 2017, but then I took it serious when I had nothing to do. You see, and sometimes God will, you know, give us some healthy isolation so that we could focus on what is important. I feel like in our generation, in our world, where we have access to so much, we're easily distracted. but there was a time when I had healthy isolation, nothing to do but focus on whatever it is that God is calling me to do, that He inspired me with this game. And I know that this game is going to bless people in the years to come and bring people together and bring families together. But it was out of that season, where I felt it was dark, where I had these goals and these aspirations and these things that were unmet. And unfortunately, my heart was broken, that I was inspired by this game. So I thought up questions. I thought of, during that free time that I had while looking for a job, I was thinking of questions. I was able to ask my family members, um, what should I do? How should I add this? What should I add to the game that will make it, a bit more spicier? What can I do to, make this game interesting to people? It was during this time that I was able to come up with a business plan and structure and continue to feed this vision. It was during this time of not having anything that I was able to come up with the design, what color I wanted. So what I'm trying to get at is during the time of isolation, I don't know who's out there that, is at a time where they have dreams, they have something they're passionate about, and there's nothing to do. Um, I don't know who I'm speaking to, but I do want to encourage you out there that it was out of nothing that God was able to speak to me and inspire me and create something. So yeah, that's where I'm at. If there's anything else you want to ask.
I mean, that was explained and articulated perfectly. Before we close, man, I really want to thank you first, but I want us to close with you answering this question first, and then telling the people where they can purchase your game. All right, or your dream. I like that, man. The question is, when you started your process,
Yes.
did you ever share your vision with anybody who opposed against it, or who went against it, or uh, did you have to experience any challenges coming from people at all?
Yeah. Okay. That's a phenomenal question. So one thing I do want to say is that with anything that God has put in your heart, just know that even if He was the one that inspired it and gave you the idea, just know you're gonna have to work, and there are gonna be seasons. I didn't break it down because of the time and stuff, but there were seasons in creating this game where I wanted to give up because I didn't have the funds, But I do want to encourage somebody out there and remind you that you're going to need to be consistent. Nothing good comes easy. Nothing good comes easy. So yes, thankfully I had my family, the most important people, my mother, my brother, my sister, that were on board. They were on board from the beginning, from when I was cutting out papers. They loved it. They encouraged me. But to be honest, there were some people that didn't understand. And I don't blame them for not understanding the vision or the game, but there were some people that I was like, man, I'm creating this thing, and they weren't as excited as me. So okay, cool, and that, because it was in seed form, I had to protect it, but that hurt me. I was like, oh man, don't you understand what I'm doing? Or why aren't you as excited as I am? So there were people that didn't understand, but I'm so thankful and grateful for my family that did understand. But I do want to tell people that anything that's in seed form, you need to protect it, because that's when it could easily be crushed. It's not a tree yet. Obviously, when it comes to bringing down a tree, right, it takes work to cut that tree down. But anything in seed form needs to be protected. So you need to tell people that you trust so that it won't be crushed. But there were people that did not understand the vision and the hope and the joy that this game brought. But I'm thankful for my family. So yeah, just to answer your question, yeah, there were people that didn't understand. No one ever opposed me, but people didn't understand and have the same passion that I did.
Where can we find your game? Let us know.
Yeah, man. So you guys can, first of all, you can follow Limbo Cards at Limbo Cards on Instagram, and you can purchase this game at www.limbogames.com.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, man. And let me just end this by just thanking you once again. But I really want to just reiterate the power of a dream, and just to shine light on this young brother's heart. When he sent me a text and he told me, like, man, I really like the thing that drives him the most, that caused him to produce this dream, is his heart and his desire to see families come together, to see healthy families having healthy communication. And I just want to end this by speaking to you, man, by letting you know that that heart, the heart that you have, the heart that you continue to submit to see families come together, to see strong families, to be a solution for families who are broken, for families who are coming together but without purpose. That heart that you have is going to produce way more. And please listen to those words, way more. This is only the beginning. And I'm so glad that I met you. And I'm so glad that I know you. Once again, this is Lawrence Washington Jr., also known as Mr. Optimistic. And I'm here to encourage you. And I want to leave you with this one question. What is more important than you doing what you were born to do? Peace.